Good morning.
Good morning. Here we are.
We are here. Different people today.
Yeah, we have
Linda's the
the
normal
blind,
one, but
the blind leading the blind today. So
yes,
pray for us.
absolutely. We will get through it though. It'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah, we
So,
will.
yep. So the Aubrey and Sarah both, their kids have got the flu. I mean, like some nasty stuff. So
Mhm.
therefore, they're calling in the C team, not even the B team. I'm the C. I might be the D team. I don't know. But I'm just here to hang out with Linda and you guys, and we're excited to get started.
Yes, we are. So let's bring up our little slideshow. So welcome to the Winter So Long. This is week 3. And today we're going to be talking about trimming our blocks, joining our blocks, and a little bit of the quilting. So we'll get you through that today. And I've been seeing some people post pictures, so I'd love to see that. Hope everybody's doing okay with it. Okay, so.
Okay. Well, as you know, a lot of you probably know Nina Gladden. She's our customer experience manager. So if any point in stitching this out or you have any questions about anything, Nina's the one to contact. So her phone number is there on the screen as well as her email address, nina@hoopsisters.com. And Nina will be the one that will be able to help you if there's any questions that we can't answer for you today.
She's the A team.
She is the A team. I don't know why she's not in here with me. Maybe she should be. If I pull out a white flag of surrender or red flag for help, maybe
You'll
she'll
do
come.
fine, Annie. I'll help you out. Don't worry.
Okay, good, good.
So
Okay, so go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, you go ahead.
Well, as you know, this is session 3 for the workshops for Geese in the Cabin, which is this beautiful flying geese quilt that Linda has designed and digitized, and she's been teaching you everything. And so Linda has created this. You can see that there's like 9 units there. So you will make 9 of these units, and she has gone into this before in previous lives for the workshop, and she'll go into it again. And you do need a minimum hoop size of 6 inches, and the approximate finished size of the quilt is 48 inches square, and the design is $59. So in case anyone's still on the fence, now you'll be able to check it out. And if you've never done one of our designs before, this would be a good one to start with because it is very beginner friendly. And I saw that someone, and went back and couldn't find it. One of the commenters on here said that those flying geese points are perfect.
Yes, I
And
think
that is one of the amazing things about doing Hoop Sisters quilt the hoop is that if there's a point or something, that it's always going to be perfect because it's digitized so the stitches land in the perfect place. That and the quilting's included, right, Linda?
Absolutely. That's my favorite part. Speaking
Yep.
of the quilting, this is the favorite part of this quilt is the secondary quilting pattern it makes when you join 4 units together. So what you're looking at there are 4 of these 9 patch units joined together in the corner, and it makes this secondary pattern, which I just love. It's my favorite part. And this slide was in here, so we'll go ahead and talk about it.
Yeah.
We didn't use wool on this quilt because the wool, we used Dream Puff instead, because the wool is a cream color and the Dream Puff is white, and the fabric that I chose on the kit for this was white. And sometimes when you put the white fabric over that cream colored wool, you get a shadowing effect. So that's what we love about the puff. You can use either one. Either one will work exactly the same. You prep them the same, you cut them the same, and iron the edges the same. But we do like the Dream Puff because basically of the color. So are we ready to get started with the trimming?
I think so.
All right. Here we go. So if you have any questions, please type them in, and hopefully Nina or somebody can star them.
I think I can even do that,
You
Linda.
can do it, Annie. Oh,
I can do that.
I'm so
I just wanted
proud.
to jump in and star also.
I'm so proud. Okay, so I have a few blocks here that I stitched. So we're going to trim a corner block, we're going to trim a flying geese block, and we're going to trim a center block today. And then we'll talk about our instructions. These are the trimming instructions. This is actually page 10, and it shows you how to trim all of your blocks. So for example, this is a corner block. And if you see the red area, that is where we're going to leave extra batting and fabric for the binding. So anywhere you see, like, so this one has a corner with the red area, and it says to note the orientation of the block. So you carefully lay it the way the picture shows, and you trim it, leaving extra battleizer in the corner. I will show you this in case you're not sure what I'm talking about. But then you trim some of them with the batting just on the top in this orientation, then another orientation with it also on the top. And then 16 of them you're going to trim around all four sides. So I'm going to do one, we're going to pretend it's a corner. So we'll trim that one first. So I have this in one big piece. I'm just going to cut it apart first. Put this one aside. So I'll look at my directions, and I want to lay it in the correct orientation. So I want to have, for the corner one, I want to have that darker quilting over on this side and my little 4-patch down here. And what I usually like to do is take my Frixion pen, which of course is not here. Give me a second, let me find it. So I have just a little fabric marking, whatever fabric marking pen you like. This is a Frixion. And I will make a little X where I want to be sure to not trim off my extra battleizer. So I have 2 little X's right there in the seam allowance. And the first thing I like to do is trim those sides first. So with my trimmer by George facing down, the metal part is facing up, I'm going to line my basting stitch up with the 1/4 inch line. And I will trim the side that I marked with an X, leaving a 1/4 inch, because that's where my binding's going to go. So I want to make sure I have battleizer or batting within my binding seam allowance. So there's one corner trimmed. And then these 2 other corners, we're going to trim off the battleizer in the seam allowance. So I want to take my trimmer by George with my metal edge facing down, put it down on the battleizer like this, turn back my fabric on the face of the block, and put that metal edge right up to the basting stitch. Fold it down. Want to make sure I have no fabric coming out. The goal with the trimmer by George is to trim away the battleizer, but not cut the fabric. You do need to use a 60mm rotary cutter because of the height of the trimmer. So you can see I trimmed away my battleizer, but I left my fabric. I'm going to do the same thing right here. Turn back my fabric. Shimmy that metal edge right up to the basting stitch. Give my battleizer just a little tug. Make sure I don't have any fabric coming out. And rotary cut that extra batting right off. So there it is. I got 2 little messy edges right here. We're going to flip it over, turn my trimmer by George with the metal edge facing up, and then put the edge, my 1/4 inch line, right on the cut edge of my battleizer. Trim away my excess. And there we have one block ready to go. So this is a corner block. So
I
this
just
one,
threw a comment up there, Linda, from Barb. She says the trimmer by George is a must-have.
it certainly is. I love the trimmer by George. So that's this block. We need to trim 4 that way, and then you'll trim the rest of them the way the directions say. So just keep in mind that that red edge is where you will keep your extra batting within your seam allowance. Okay, so then the next one we're going to do is a goose block. So I'm just going to rough cut my goose block out of here. This is a goose block A. And if you remember from last week, when you stitch your goose blocks, you want to label them A, B, C, or D. The only difference between them is this little piece of quilting right here. This has to match up with your center block. So we want to be sure we have it labeled correctly so you don't have to try to figure it out afterwards. And on all your goose blocks, it'll say trim 3, goose A, trim 3, goose B, C, and D, with just leaving the extra fabric at the top for the seam, for the binding, and then the remaining geese we trim around all 4 sides. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do a 1/4 inch at the top of A with my trimmer metal edge facing up. So this is my binding edge. Then the metal edge facing down, turn back the face of the block. Give it a little shimmy to get it nice and tight up to the basting line. Fold it down. Give it a little tug, and I always run my finger along there just to be sure. So the rest of the sides will trim just like that, turning the face back, checking. So now all my battleizers cut off on this block. So this is what the back will look like. So now I'm going to go back and trim a 1/4 inch around these 3 edges with just the fabric. Okay, so there's my goose block, one of my goose blocks. This is goose block A.
It's looking good.
It's getting there.
Yep. So we did have somebody had asked a question. I gotta find it now. After trimming the battleizer, this is Diana's question. She says, after trimming the battleizer, you turn the block over and trim aligning the 1/4 inch with the edge of the battleizer, not the stitching outline. So I thought maybe it'd be a good time to clarify that.
I don't think it matters a whole lot, but yes, I do use the battleizer, frankly, because I can see it better. If you use the basting stitch, if you can see it and you want to, it doesn't really make any difference. The extra fabric that's within your seam allowance doesn't have to be perfect like with regular quilting. You have to cut perfect. Here we're going to sew perfect, and you'll see in a minute by what I mean, because we're going to pin our basting stitches together. So you can use the basting stitch as your 1/4 inch when you turn it over. I personally use the edge of the battleizer. Which do you do, Annie?
I usually line it up with the basting stitch, but as I get older, I might just go for the edge of the battleizer.
Well, see, Annie, I'm 10.5 months older than you. So
yes, you are. You're the much older sister. So I can see in 10.5 months, I'll be doing it the way you do it. But you're right. It really, Either way, whichever way is
Yes.
easiest for you.
And I like to turn it over because I can really see the difference. I mean, I could trim my front fabric from the front using the basting stitch too, but I just like to turn it over because I can see it a little bit better. So
Yeah.
it doesn't make any difference which line you use. You can use whichever is easier for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's our center block. And as you can see, I have it labeled A, B, C, D. And that is to line up with the proper goose block. So this is my A block. So that will line up here. So make sure before you take it out of your hoop when you embroider it, I did talk about this last week, to get it labeled so you know which end is up when you go and put it together. So this, because this is in the center of our unit, this is going to have all four sides trimmed. Using the trimmer by George, we don't leave any extra for binding because this will never see binding. So we'll just trim this one up real quick. So getting back to that question about using the edge of the battleizer or the basting stitch.
Yeah.
If you use the edge of the battleizer, it does leave a wee bit more fabric in your seam allowance, and I find that for me to be helpful.
Sometimes that wee bit is very helpful.
It is, just like 1/8 of an inch, maybe 1/16 of an inch. Okay, so there's all four sides trimmed off. The battleizer's gone, so now I'm going to turn it over and trim off the face of the block from the back side. 1/4 inch right along the edge of the battleizer. I kind of think it helps me with my pressing too, to have just that little bit extra fabric.
That is a good point.
Yeah. Okay.
And Joan says that she had not thought about putting the X on there on the side that gets trimmed through all layers. So
oh my gosh.
I know you gave her a really good tip there.
That's good. That's good because I can't tell you how many times I get into auto mode. I'm sure, Annie, you've done this.
Oh, yeah.
You want to trim a block, say, and you just go ahead, you start by trimming off the extra fabric for the, for the battle or this extra battleizer, and you do all four sides, and then you go, oh shoot, that was supposed to be an edge
Right.
with the binding. So I find if I do all of my binding edges first, then if I accidentally keep doing binding edges, I can fix it.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey, should we talk about how to fix it if you accidentally cut the wrong?
I was just going to say that
Yeah.
if you do accidentally on one of the sides that has binding, if you accidentally trim that battleizer away, all you do is cut a little 1/4 inch strip of battleizer like Linda's doing right now, and or maybe even maybe a scant 1/4 inch, and get your glue and glue it in there.
Yep.
And then that'll just be covered with binding when your quilt is finished anyway.
Absolutely. So here's my little 1/4 inch. This is a quilt basting glue. You just run a little, I'm not going to do it. You just run a little bead right along there and put it in there, cut it to the right length. And I use my iron to just set it so the glue dries fast.
And how do we know this trick, Linda?
Because we've screwed it up a lot.
Yep.
And the reason we have the trimmer by George is because before we had it, we screwed it up a lot. So there you go. Okay, so any questions on the trimming that you pinned, Annie?
Let me see. I do have a couple that are pinned here. Joan, this isn't really trimming. It goes back to the Dream Puff question. She wanted to know if it's in stock, so that when she runs out of wool, she wants to try it. And yes, Joan, we do have that in stock. Let's see. Oh, this is a good reminder too. Catherine is reminding us that for the trimmer by George, Remember, you do have to have a 60 millimeter rotary cutter.
It even says so right on the trimmer.
It does. And that's because that metal edge will raise that ruler up a little bit. So you do need that extra room.
Right. So it clears the little thingy on your cutter.
That's, I think, really all I have for right now. The only thing I wanted to say here is that Barbara is giving us a great compliment. All of our instructions are so easy to follow. Thank you, Barbara.
Oh, we love it. Thank you,
Yeah.
Barbara. Okay, so let's talk about pinning and stitching. So these two blocks are going to be stitched together to start our unit. So I've got my corner block here, my A, and then eventually another corner block will be stitched here. And it will look like, hold on, I have an example. It'll look like this when it's finished. So this will be the first row. So obviously we're going to put them right sides together. And we do this little thing called pin matching. Can you take that comment down, Annie?
Oh, yes, I can. So sorry.
That's okay.
I have to find it. There we go.
Perfect. Okay, so we're going to take a pin and I'm going to put it right at the corner of that basting stitch, and I'll peek on the right side and you can see that. Hopefully you can see that pin come up right there at that corner. And then I'll come across to the second block and go exactly in the same place. And then I pinch these two together. Take a second pin and put it in like a normal pin, just like that. Take this pin out. So in theory, this will be matched up perfectly. I do the same thing to the opposite end of the block. Put it right in the corner, right along the basting stitch. Go across to the second one. Give it a pinch. Take a second pin and pin it. Take this pin out. So now these two blocks have match points that we want to match up this point of the flying geese with this seam. So I'm going to peek inside and put that pin right on the basting stitch, right at the point of the flying geese, and come across to the seam on the other block. And pinch that. Take a second pin and pin it. Take the first pin out. And then we will repeat this with the other seam, the point of the flying geese. Come across to the seam on the block. Put that pin straight in, give it a pinch, second pin, and pin it. Take the first pin out. So this little 6-inch block, I have 4 pins. So now where we're going to stitch, I'm going to use my red pen as a pointer. I'm going to lower my needle right at the basting stitch corner. I'm not going to start at the edge of my block. I'm going to start right there at the basting stitch corner, lower my needle right on that basting stitch. I'm going to back stitch to maybe 1 or 2 stitches. Then I'm going to come forward and stitch right on that basting stitch all the way down and to the end. And then I might go off the corner, off the edge of the battleizer, maybe 1 stitch, and then back up 1 or 2 stitches. So I don't sew all the way to, I don't start all the way on the end, and I don't sew all the way to the end, just because you have a bit of thickness here and your machine is going to like it better if you just do that little bit of extra back stitch into the seam allowance.
Okay. That's awesome.
So when you're done, I stitched this in gray. I don't know, can you see that? Can you see that gray stitching?
Kind of hard to see, but
Yeah. So I stitched these two together, and you can see that my seams and my flying geese points are in the perfect place.
looks great. Looks awesome. I did star a couple of comments.
Okay.
I'll put one on the screen. The first one is Wanda. She goes, so pretty. Wish I had ordered it. Wanda, it's not too late. You can still go to our website and you can still order this. And to go along, if Wanda does purchase it and she's maybe missed out on the first two tutorials, Mary has kind of the same question that Wanda might have. I have not purchased my fabric yet for this project and would like to know if these tutorials will continue to be available after the 4 sessions are done. Yes, they absolutely will be. Yep.
Great. Okay, so let's talk about how we're going to put this unit together. So I just pinned this seam right here. So you'll stitch that seam and then you'll put your other corner block here. Oh, let me show you in the instructions. It gives you, this is your unit, this is page 11. This is your unit layout guide. So we have unit 1 through unit 9. So we have a layout for every single unit. And the reason for that is so you get your battleizer cut edges in the right place. So hopefully that makes sense. So this is my corner block with the corner for the binding. And then you can see on my D, I have a binding edge, and my other corner block has just the one side for binding. So the red is showing me where the binding will go. So I would lay out and stitch each unit just as we have them laid out here. So this is what I have. I have row 1, row 2, row 3. But before I stitch them together, I want to press my seam. So let's talk about that real quick. I'm going to move my cutting mat. It's not a good thing to press on. So I like to use our little strip stick that we have on our website. This is a flat on one side, padded stick. It's flat on one side that lays on the ironing board, and the other side is rounded. So what I like to do is press my seams opposing each other. So this first row, this is the top row, I'm going to press my seams outward. And then the second row, I'll press them inward. And the third row, I'll press them outward. I do like to use a little bit of Mary Ellen's Best Press on my seams.
There's some people commenting on your pincushion project.
This
And
one?
yes, that they
love
think
that.
it is super cute. And I think it was probably Nina that posted a link there. So while you're pressing, is it okay if I put that link up there?
Yeah, and it has a little matching wrist cushion too.
Yeah. Oh, that was not the one I meant to put up there, but there's the finished size. That was also someone else's question.
You're doing great, Annie.
Hey, the comments are coming in too fast. What can I say?
Okay, so that's our first row. So my seams are pressing outward. And then my second row, let's see, I got to make sure. That's your A. So these seams are going to be pressed toward the center on my second row. So you can kind of see we're pressing these to one side. I think having that little bit extra fabric in your seam allowance, I think is helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And when I press this on the front, I want to make sure I don't press off my label, my ABCD label.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that one's going in, and then the bottom row disappeared. Where did it go? Here it is. The bottom row, we're going to go out.
I love quilts that are put together with units. You feel
Yeah,
like you've accomplished something. I got one unit done rather
yeah.
than block by block. So I think it just, you feel more accomplished.
And then the way we're going to quilt this, the unit is really handy because we're quilting each unit.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are all pressed. So then it's time to sew these rows together. So we'll pin it exactly the same way. We'll put these two right sides together, and I'll pin match at my seams. And then same thing. I'll have to pin match to match this seam with the flying geese. And you'll stitch this all the way across and then add on your other one. And then you'll have a complete unit. Let me go, my complete, hold on, I got to grab my whole unit. That's on the other side of the room.
Of course. Wanda says she can see this as a queen size quilt.
Oh yeah, you can keep going.
Yeah, absolutely.
This would also make a beautiful pillow.
Yes, it would.
Okay, so here's my complete unit. Here's the back all pressed. So you can see I pressed them opposing each other, and then I press these seams as well. And then this is ready to add a backing and quilt it.
Very cool.
So speaking of the quilting, there we go. So this is an image from the instructions. This is actually on page 17 of the instructions. And so what you're going to do is you're going to cut a piece of fabric that's bigger than your unit. And I think we had you cut it, I want to say the unit 16, so I think we had you cut it 18. I'd have to check, but you cut it bigger. And then you can pin your unit to your backing. And then the way I quilted it, I used a monopoly thread in my needle and my bobbin, and I stitched. This is the pattern of the stitching right here. So I stitched in the seam allowance with a straight stitch, like a stitch in the ditch, into this pattern around the quilt block. And it came out really pretty. So this is what it looks like. It's a little bit hard to see, but you can see the stitching on each unit. And then when you join the units together, obviously your seams are going to show. And next week, we're going to talk about the decorative sashing that we're going to add on.
Do you mind if I pop a question up there?
Go for it.
It is, Sandy wants to know, once it's all sewn together, how do you press the seams? I think she may be talking about at this stage in it. How do you press those seams on the back?
To one side.
To one side. Okay.
Right.
All right.
So if she's talking about the unit itself, all the seams in the rows, they're pressed to one side. When you join the rows together, you press them to one side. I do unit 1, then I do unit 2, and I make sure that the seams on unit 2 are going the opposite direction as unit 1. Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. So you try to get the bulk opposing each other. Any other questions?
Um, Not that I can think of. Oh, I just have a comment. It says, Pat says the pinning technique's a game changer. Everything lines up perfectly.
It really does. It really does. It's you pin match it and so nice and slow. And
Mhm.
oh, by the way, I didn't say, but I do like to make my stitch length a little longer when I sew my seams together. I usually go to 3.0 on my machine as opposed to what comes up, which I think is like 2.2 or 4. So
Yeah.
I do like it a little bit longer because it's a little bit thicker and it just travels better. And I also do like to use a walking foot.
Mhm. The walking foot, and especially like a dual walking foot on your machine, if you have that
Mm-hmm.
feature,
Yep.
that's a game changer as well. Yep. So I don't think I had any more questions here.
Okay.
If you did have a question in there, you're welcome to contact me and we'll put her information up as well. So you can get to her afterwards. But Beth McConnell says that you guys rock.
Thanks, Beth.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Barbara says it's nice that she gets to see both of us on at the same time.
How are we doing? How's the B team doing? Or are we the C team? I don't even know.
You're the A team, I'm the D team.
You're doing great.
You're doing great too. Oh, but yeah, this is great. So, or the next session, I'm just going to read right from the screen. Excuse me, I'm not looking at the camera. I'm reading the screen right along with all you guys. So today's the 19th. The next one will be Tuesday, not Monday, but Tuesday. So mark that in your calendar, January 27th at the same time, 11 a.m. Eastern time. So we apologize for those who are just rolling out of bed at that time on the West Coast. And she's going to talk about adding a decorative sashing, which I'm excited about because it's just one more added little thing that you can do when you
Let me
bring them
show
in
that.
here.
Let
I
me
have
show
a
that.
Can I show off a grandchild?
You,
You,
you have a grandchild? I thought they were sick.
well, this one isn't.
Oh,
Here.
yeah. Let's see.
Oh my gosh, he's getting way too big. Can you wave at everybody? Give me
Hi,
some eyes.
JB.
Oh,
How
I love you.
are you?
Oh, all right. You guys make sure Mary feels better.
Now you're gonna get it. Go douse yourself in something.
I know. He probably just passed on a germ to me.
I want to show this. This is the decorative sashing that we're going to talk about next week, and this will cover your raw edges on the back of your quilt.
Yeah, it's almost like an extra that
Yeah,
is just amazing. Why
yeah.
not? Why not
Why
make the
not?
back should always look just as pretty as the front?
Absolutely. And it's on Tuesday because on Monday I'll be driving home from babysitting my grandkids in
Yeah,
Michigan, and
yeah.
we're leaving today right after this live. So pray for us that we can get around Lake Michigan.
Oh yeah,
The snow is
definitely.
bad. All right.
Well, and there's Nina's contact information. If you had a question that you think of later or one that we couldn't get to, just contact Nina at 866-497-4068 or email her at nina@hoopsisters, and she'd be more than happy to be able to answer your questions. She's excellent. So,
So
I,
I start a couple more questions.
okay.
Um, when the puff is used, the edges get ironed. Do they have to be? So Donna, I believe your name is. We don't know what kind of foot everyone has on their machine. We use personally Janome machines, and on some Janome machines we have an oval foot that doesn't really get caught up in the puff or the wool. But some Janome machines and some other brands of machines have a little tiny round foot that can get caught up in your puff or wool. So we do it as a precaution. It doesn't have to be done, but it does keep the bulk down on the edge of the block. So you do you, but we're always going to recommend that you do press the edges of your wool just a precaution so it doesn't get caught.
Yep.
And then on that note, We have Gretchen that says, on my 10 needle, I found I didn't need to press the puff, but on my single needle, I needed to. That makes sense because on a multi-needle machine, those needles are real high. They're
Yeah.
real high off the fabric and they go up and down real high, so they won't get caught as much. So
Yeah.
good point. So you can do what is best for you, but we will
Mm-hmm.
always recommend you press it.
Yeah. Better safe than sorry, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. You
Are
want
we
to do
good?
one more?
Sure, if you got one.
Yep. Diana says, when you cut the battleizer, do you cut the wool or puff?
No. You mean,
Okay.
does she? I think she means when we trim the block,
Mhm.
right?
Right. That's what I took it as. And your
Okay.
wool or your dream puff is going to actually be inside the
Right.
boundaries of your quilt underneath the fabric. So the only thing you're cutting, Diana, is just the battleizer, which is extended outside the block. I think Linda's going to show you something
Yeah,
here.
because this is for the log cabin block
Mhm.
size. So you cut it exactly like Annie said, the exact size of the block. And then these are the little pressed edges that we talked about. They kind of melt is what happens to
Mhm.
them. So there's very little bulk close to your seam allowance. So that's another reason to press it.
Okay. I think, are we done? Did we do everything completely like we wanted to?
I did everything I wanted to.
Okay. Oh, and DV Garcia, we're going
Yeah.
to sign off with your comment. Congratulations. Happy anniversary.
Happy
Must be
anniversary.
said she can sew all day long.
What
Woo!
a wonderful
That
husband you
is
have.
wonderful. What a gift. Oh,
Okay. So thanks, Annie. You did a
you're
great job.
welcome. I don't think I messed it up too badly.
No, you did a great job. And I hope the girls and all the kids get better quickly.
Me too. Me too. And I hope you have fun in Michigan with your grandkids. And we'll be praying you get around that lake.
Thank you.
No problems.
All
And
right.
we will see everyone next Tuesday at 11 o'clock. Not Monday, but Tuesday. We'll see you then. Thanks,
Okay.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.